All right, so this is going to be 5 minutes, 2:25 for voice.
And for the plaintiff, Mr. Boston.
I am the witness.
I am defense 2, Ms. Walker.
I am defense attorney, Mr. Jackson. Starts with me. Ready? Ms. Butler, thank you for coming in today. For your information, I represent Bill Evans in this litigation, and I just have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Counsel asked you how you met Larry and Debbie Perkins, and you thought that Mr. Evans introduced you to them. Is that your memory of how it happened?
Yes, it is.
Are you positive that it was Mr. Evans, or how do you place it as being him that introduced you to them?
I just remember that they were his clients on that deal. They were buying the house and he was the agent for the sale.
Do you remember any other agents in your office working with Bill Evans on this transaction?
No.
What is the standard practice in the office for the agents who work there and their caseload? Is everyone responsible for their own deals, or do people help each other out?
Objection calls for speculation and no personal knowledge.
I am just asking for her opinion.
Well, you asked her what the standard practice is.
Also, she no longer works there, so the time frame should be clarified.
During the time you worked there, did you notice if the agents only worked the cases they were assigned, or whether everyone worked all the deals?
Everyone had their own houses that they were selling or buying or whatever, yes.
Was it a common practice that one agent might help another agent in regards to closing the deal?
I don't really know what they would do as far as closing the house. I mean, if you are talking about someone dropping off papers for them or something like that, I'm sure that happened.
Objection, non-responsive.
Were you ever made aware that someone other than Mr. Evans was working on this particular transaction?
No, not that I recall.
Do you know an agent by the name of Joseph Stanton working for Gold Realty?
Yes, I do. He started working there after I did.
Do you know what his role or duties were at Gold Realty?
He was a realty. He sold houses and bought houses for clients.
Do you remember Mr. Stanton bringing you any documents regarding the house on Maple Lane?
No, I don't. I mean, he might have handed me something to mail, but I wouldn't know what's in the envelope.
So you don't remember any specific event where he requested you to do something regarding that file?
No.
And do you ever work on files for agents in any way?
Sometimes I collect the files from the agents and get them ready for copying, but that only happened a couple times while I was working.
Who would do the copying of the documents if it wasn't you?
They had employees in the back that just did that.
Did you ever work in that position in the office?
No, I always was in the front area, like a receptionist, I guess.
And you were the person of the company that the public encountered initially if they came in the front door, is that correct?
Yes, I suppose that would be correct. It wasn't a large area, but I was in the front.
Let me ask you a question regarding the general practices of the business when a sale would conclude and all the documents were signed. What would happen to the case file in the office?
You mean when the closing documents were signed and everything?
Yes, after the deal was completed and the people received the keys to their property, what would happen to the file that was maintained in the company?
After all the copies were made and everything was done, then the documents would be placed in the storage room where we maintained those things.
Was there a specific location in the building that held those cases?
Absolutely.
Did you have access to that area?
Sure, everyone did. It was located next to the lunchroom and it was a storage closet.
What else was that room used for?
It wasn't actually a room, it was basically like a closet. We kept the completed cases there and then some office supplies in addition.
Is it your testimony today that you do not remember personally handling this file other than just regular processing in your office?
Yes, that would be it. I might have been the one that put it in the storage box, but usually it was the agent when everything is done and they have whatever information out of the file that they need.
And do the agents remove things from the file, or are you talking about...
No, I mean sometimes they make copies of things that they need, but they wouldn't remove them from the file.
And thank you again for your cooperation, ma'am.
You are welcome.
No further questions at this time.
Miss Butler, I just have a couple questions for you also.
Okay.
During the time period that you were working at Gold Realty, were you ever instructed on how to file loan documents in the office?
Well, just generally, yes. I mean, sometimes filing papers would come in for a house and I would put them in the mailbox for the agent who was handling that transaction.
So you would match up the agent with the papers, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Did you ever assign certain cases to agents, or was that beyond your responsibility?
No, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. If someone walked into your office and was interested in buying a home, who would you direct them to?
Well, it wasn't really that kind of business. I mean, I guess people could walk in off the street, but the people that came in were clients that had appointments or they were meeting someone.
In the time period that you worked there, did you ever have anybody come in off the street and request an interview with a realtor regarding a property purchase?
Not that I ever remember.
If that event had occurred, what would have been the procedure? How are you to handle that situation?
I would have immediately called my boss and reported to him that someone was in the office who wanted to select an agent.
And who was your boss?
Most of the time I worked there, it would have been Ron Gates.
Is that who hired you at Gold Realty?
Yes, it is. I was just his secretary, I guess you could say.